Lee sat at his monitoring station in the deep space listening array, sipping the last of his cold coffee. The morning had been quiet, too quiet for someone who had devoted his life to searching for signals from beyond. Then his screen flickered. At first, he thought it was a system glitch. The pattern was too perfect, too structured to be natural cosmic noise. His heart raced as he ran the standard verification protocols. "Sir," he called to his supervisor, voice barely steady. "I think you need to see this." Within hours, the news spread across Earth. Humans were not alone in the universe. The Darrow Collective had made contact, and they wanted to talk. The governments of Earth united with unprecedented speed, selecting Ambassador Kim as humanity's representative. Her diplomatic experience made her the obvious choice, though nothing in her career had prepared her for meeting aliens. The neutral meeting point was established aboard a hastily modified space station orbiting Mars. Kim arrived with a small team of scientists, linguists, and military advisors. They waited nervously as the sleek crystalline shuttle of the Darrow docked with their station. Commander Rock emerged first. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall with reflective skin that shifted colors with his movements. Behind him followed 6 similar beings, each carrying strange devices that hummed softly. "We welcome you to our solar system," Kim said, following the carefully scripted greeting. Rock tilted his angular head. When he spoke, the translation devices created by Earth's best linguists converted his musical tones into flat English. "Your welcome is noted but unnecessary. This region has been marked for resource collection." The meeting lasted 4 hours. As it progressed, the humans' hope for a cultural exchange faded. The Darrow weren't explorers, they were collectors. "Your planet possesses unique mineral compositions we require," Rock stated, displaying a holographic map of Earth with specific regions highlighted. "Surrender 70% of your reserves and we will grant you protectorate status." Kim kept her composure despite the shock. "I'm afraid Earth cannot agree to these terms. Perhaps we can discuss a more balanced trade agreement?" Rock's skin darkened to a deep blue. "There is no negotiation. You have 3 of your Earth days to communicate your surrender terms." The Darrow delegation departed without ceremony, leaving the humans stunned. "They can't be serious," said Dr. Park, the lead scientist. "Those minerals they want, they're asking for most of our rare Earth elements. Our technology infrastructure would collapse." Kim stared out the viewport at the departing Darrow ship. "I think they're very serious." When they returned to Earth, the Global Security Council convened immediately. Military leaders presented their assessments of Darrow technology based on sensor readings. "They're at least 2 centuries ahead of us," General Cho concluded grimly. "Their smallest scout ships could likely neutralize our most advanced defenses." President Park asked the question everyone feared: "Can we fight them?" The room fell silent until Kim spoke. "I don't think they expect us to. Everything about their approach suggests they're used to species surrendering immediately." 3 days passed with no response from Earth. The humans needed time, hoping the Darrow might reconsider. They didn't. On the morning of the 4th day, the lunar colony went silent. Satellite imagery showed only a smoking crater where the dome city had stood. 12,000 people gone in seconds. Every screen on Earth broadcast the same message from Commander Rock: "Your time has expired." This demonstration should clarify the consequences of defiance. The images from the moon played behind him, the destruction rendered in perfect clarity. That evening, President Park addressed a frightened planet. Her face was drawn but determined as she stood at the podium. "Today, humanity faces a choice that will define our species. We can surrender our resources and become slaves to the Darrow, or we can resist an enemy with superior technology and firepower." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "Throughout our history, humans have faced overwhelming odds. We have endured natural disasters, plagues, and our own terrible wars. Each time, we have emerged stronger because we refused to submit to fear." Satellite feeds showed people gathering in city squares across the globe, watching her words. "The Darrow believe we will choose survival over freedom. They believe we lack the courage to fight. They are wrong. Her voice steadied as she delivered the final words. Today we face extinction or resistance. Humanity chooses to fight. Across Earth, secret military protocols activated. Hidden facilities powered up. Scientists and engineers who had been quietly briefed on the possibility of hostile contact opened sealed orders. In his command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Choi watched as the first defensive systems came online. So it begins, he whispered. The war for Earth's survival had started. No one knew it yet, but the Darrow had just made the worst mistake in their long history of conquest. General Cho walked slowly around the large holographic display showing the movements of Darrow ships in Earth orbit. 2 weeks had passed since the destruction of the lunar colony, and the aliens had systematically destroyed every major military base they could identify. Yet Cho smiled faintly. They're predictable, she told the Joint Chiefs gathered in the underground command center. Advanced, yes, but rigid. They've conquered too easily for too long. Admiral Bay looked skeptical. They've destroyed our air forces, our naval fleets, and most of our military satellites. What exactly makes you optimistic? Cho pointed to the pattern of Darrow attacks. Look at their formation. Look at their targeting priorities. They follow the same tactical doctrine every time. They've never faced a species that could truly fight back. The Darrow expected Earth to surrender after their show of force. Their ships now hovered over major cities, broadcasting ultimatums. But humanity had disappeared from their sensors. Miles beneath the surface, in facilities built during the Cold War and expanded in secret over decades, humans prepared their response. We can't match their technology, Cho explained to President Park during her inspection of the hidden factory complexes. So we won't try to fight the way they expect. The president watched as workers converted ordinary commercial drones into weapons. Will this really work against their shields? They scan for energy signatures they recognize as threats, said scientist Han, leading them through the facility. Their sensors look for military-grade weapons and power sources. So we're using what they don't recognize. Han lifted one of the modified drones. Commercial electronics, minimally altered. Individually harmless. Together. He smiled thinly. Very effective. Above ground, the Darrow grew confused by humanity's apparent disappearance. Their scanners showed only civilians hiding in their homes, no military gatherings, no resistance forming. Commander Tech, leader of the Seoul Occupation Force, reported to Grand Admiral Nex, the humans appear to be accepting their defeat. We detect no organized opposition. Maintain vigilance, Nex ordered. Begin resource extraction in your sector. The massive Darrow harvester ship lowered toward Seoul, its mining beams prepared to tear through the earth. Commander Tech observed from his battleship hovering 3 miles above the city. The attack came without warning. First, the city's power grid shut down completely, triggering the Darrow's automatic scan for threats. Finding none, they continued their descent. Then, from thousands of hiding places, rooftops, windows, parks, and alleys, came the drones. Not hundreds. Thousands. Each smaller than a dinner plate, carrying a tiny electromagnetic pulse generator. Individually, they were too weak to penetrate Darrow shields. But the shields were calibrated for high-energy weapons, not swarms of tiny devices. The drones attached to the hull of the battleship like metal filings to a magnet. At precisely the same moment, they discharged. On the bridge, Commander Tech watched in confusion as his systems flickered. Report, he demanded. Unknown interference, his second responded. Shields are. The ship lurched violently as its anti-gravity systems failed. Warning alarms blared as the massive vessel began to fall. From his observation post in an underground bunker, Colonel Kong watched through a periscope as the Darrow battleship crashed into the empty sports stadium they had deliberately left intact as a trap. Project Sunfire, Kong whispered as the alien ship crumpled like a toy. First blood is ours. Similar attacks occurred simultaneously in 12 cities worldwide. The Darrow lost 17 vessels before they could respond. In the Atlantic Command Center, Admiral Bay received the reports with grim satisfaction. They're pulling their ships to higher orbit. They don't understand what hit them. General Cho nodded. Phase 1 complete. Now we disappear again before they adapt. In orbit, Grand Admiral Nex raged at his commanders. How were they able to do this? Their technology is primitive. They used their own weakness as a weapon, his science officer explained. The devices were too simple for our threat detection systems. Find their military bases. Nex ordered. They must have centralized command centers. But Earth's resistance had no central command to target. Each region operated independently, using pre-arranged plans but adapting locally. In his hidden laboratory, Han worked with his team on the next phase. The Daro rely on centralized command in perfect communication. We need to blind them. A young engineer named Min held up a small device. We've reprogrammed their own communication relays. When activated, they'll broadcast noise on all Daro frequencies. Han smiled. How soon? 2 days. Across the planet, humans prepared, gathered resources, and shared information through old-fashioned methods the Daro couldn't monitor: printed messages, radio frequencies thought obsolete, and human couriers. In her bunker office, General Cho reviewed the casualty reports. Millions dead, but billions still alive and fighting. She marked positions on her paper map, planning the next strike. They think they're hunting us, she said to her aide. They don't realize we're hunting them. The massive Daro invasion fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, 300 vessels strong. Humanity's orbital sensors detected their arrival. Grand Admiral Nex had abandoned stealth in favor of intimidation. Captain Moon watched from the bridge of the TSS Defiance, one of 30 ships in the hidden Terran defense fleet. Their vessels were nestled within the asteroid belt, powered down to minimal life support. Only passive sensors remained active, giving them a perfect view of the approaching armada. They've brought their whole fleet, his first officer whispered. Just as intelligence predicted. Moon nodded, his expression calm despite the odds they faced. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. For 2 months, human forces had conducted hit-and-run attacks on Daro positions, then vanished before retaliation could arrive. The aliens had grown increasingly frustrated with their inability to locate and destroy Earth's military. Now Grand Admiral Nex had committed his full force to end the resistance once and for all. The Daro fleet moved into high Earth orbit, positioning ships over major population centers. The alien commander's face appeared on every working screen and device on the planet. Humans, Grand Admiral Nex began, his translator converting his musical language into flat tones. Your resistance has proven costly to both sides. This ends today. Surrender or face extinction. From her command post beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Cho gave the order they had been waiting for. Activate the orbital mines. Throughout Earth orbit, 10,000 objects that had appeared to be simple space debris suddenly activated. For months, during the initial Daro attacks, humans had been secretly launching these disguised weapons. To Daro sensors, they were indistinguishable from the thousands of pieces of actual debris that circled the planet. Captain Moon watched his tactical display as the mines attached themselves to Daro ships. They weren't explosives, those would have been detected. Instead, each mine contained a specially designed frequency disruptor that targeted the exact energy signature of Daro power systems. One by one, Daro ships lost power. They're blind and deaf, Moon reported to command. Phase 1 successful. Moving to Phase 2. The Terran fleet powered up and moved from their hiding places, approaching the disabled Daro vessels. Not all alien ships had been affected, about 60 had escaped the initial attack and were regrouping for a counterattack. But the Daro flagship, containing Grand Admiral Nex and his command staff, floated helpless. Lieutenant G checked her boarding team's equipment one final time. 20 soldiers in specially designed armor filled the small assault craft. Each carried weapons reverse-engineered from Daro technology captured in previous engagements. Remember, she told her team, their internal security is designed to stop infiltration, not boarding actions. They never expected anyone to get this close. The assault craft attached to the Daro flagship's hull. Cutting torches burned through the alien metal, creating an entry point. G led her squad through the breach, into the alien vessel. The halls of the Darrow ship were eerily silent, emergency lighting casting blue shadows across curved walls. The boarding team moved quickly, following the ship schematics they had studied for weeks. They encountered their first resistance 3 decks in. A group of Darrow soldiers trying to restore power to a junction box. The aliens turned in surprise, raising their weapons too late as the human team stunned them with electromagnetic pulses. They never expected to be boarded, G reported back to command. Their command structures collapse without direct orders. Moving deeper into the ship, they approached the bridge. Here they met heavier resistance. Darrow officers had organized a defensive position outside the command center. Deploy the sonic disruptors, G ordered. 2 soldiers activated devices that emitted a frequency that caused intense pain to Darrow auditory systems without harming humans. The aliens fell, clutching the sides of their heads. G's team breached the bridge to find Grand Admiral Nex and his command staff. The Admiral rose from his control chair, his skin cycling through patterns of color that indicated both rage and disbelief. "Impossible," he said as G approached. "Your species is primitive." G removed her helmet, letting the alien see her face. "That's what you thought. That's why you lost." Across Earth orbit, similar scenes played out as boarding teams captured disabled Darrow vessels. By dawn, humanity had seized 30 ships intact, including the command ship. In the underground war room, General Cho received the reports with grim satisfaction. On the main screen, Lieutenant G stood beside the captured Grand Admiral Nex. "The flagship is secure," G reported. "Their command structure is broken. The remaining ships are retreating to the outer system." Cho nodded slowly. "Begin data extraction immediately. We need their star charts, weapons systems, and especially their FTL technology." For the first time since the war began, she allowed herself a genuine smile. "The tide has turned," she told President Park, who had joined her in the command center. "Now we take the fight to them." Engineer Song stared at the glowing alien text scrolling across his screen. For 3 weeks, he had led the team analyzing the Darrow database captured from their flagship. What they discovered changed everything. "They've never adapted their technology for warfare against equals," he reported to the assembled military and political leaders. "Everything is designed to dominate primitive species. They haven't fought a real war in over 1,000 years." President Park leaned forward. "Can we use this?" Song nodded. "We already are. Their ships are powerful but inflexible. Their weapons are devastating but follow predictable patterns." He pulled up a schematic on the main display. "And now we know how their faster-than-light drives work." The shipyards hidden beneath the lunar surface had been working non-stop since the capture of the Darrow vessels. Engineers and scientists reverse-engineered the alien technology while making critical modifications based on human thinking. Captain Bay walked through the hangar, admiring the sleek lines of the TSS Vengeance. The first human-built starship incorporating Darrow technology. 20 similar vessels neared completion nearby. "Is she ready?" Bay asked the chief engineer. "Better than ready," he replied with pride. "She's better than anything the Darrow have. We've improved their power systems by 30% and added features they never considered." 1 month after the successful defense of Earth, the human counteroffensive began. Captain Bay stood on the bridge of the Vengeance as it accelerated away from Earth, leading a fleet of 25 ships. "FTL systems ready," her navigator reported. Bay took a deep breath. No human had ever traveled faster than light before. "Take us to the Darrow colony at Proxima Centauri." The stars blurred as the ship jumped, covering 4 light-years in moments. When they emerged, a small Darrow outpost hung in orbit around the system's second planet. "They don't know we're coming," Bay noted with satisfaction. No defensive posture. The human fleet made short work of the outpost's minimal defenses. As they had on Earth, boarding parties captured the colony intact, taking prisoners and securing valuable intelligence. "They don't understand our tactics," Bay noted in her log that evening. "We target military assets only, avoid civilian casualties, and retreat unpredictably. It terrifies them. The pattern repeated across 6 Darrow outposts in neighboring star systems. The human fleet struck quickly, disabled their targets with precision, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. After each victory, they brought captured Darrow to face the same choice: provide information about other Darrow holdings or face imprisonment. Most chose to cooperate, shocked by the human approach to warfare. "You spare civilians," one Darrow commander said in disbelief during interrogation. "You offer enemies mercy. This is not how conquest works." "We're not interested in conquest," his human interrogator replied. "We want security and justice." After the 7th successful raid, the fleet received new intelligence. Major Yoon and his Special Forces team had discovered something unexpected on the Darrow colony world of Marix, another enslaved species. The Telnor were tall, graceful beings with translucent skin. They had been conquered by the Darrow 3 centuries earlier and forced to work as servants and manual laborers. Yoon made contact with their underground resistance movement during a raid on the planet's main military base. "The humans fight differently," the Telnor leader whispered during their secret meeting. "They offer us freedom, not just a new master." Yoon brought this information back to Fleet Command. "The Darrow Empire contains at least 12 subjugated species," he reported. "All potential allies if we can free them." General Cho immediately saw the opportunity. "Contact each resistance group. Offer them weapons, training, and coordination." Within weeks, the Darrow faced not only human raiders but internal rebellions across 5 systems. Their forces stretched thin trying to maintain control of their empire while defending against human attacks. On the Darrow homeworld, the ruling council convened an emergency session. "These humans are unlike any species we have encountered," the Minister of Defense admitted. "They learn and adapt too quickly. And now they turn our subjects against us." The Supreme Chancellor looked at the strategic map showing Darrow territory. Nearly a quarter of their outposts had fallen or faced rebellion. "Can we defeat them?" he asked. The defense minister hesitated. "Perhaps, but at what cost? They now possess our technology. They strike where we are weak and vanish before we can respond. And they show no interest in conquering, only in destroying our military capability. Then what do they want? From all intelligence, they seek to end the threat to their world and free our subject species. Nothing more." The Supreme Chancellor stared at the map for a long time. "Prepare a communication to their leaders. We must understand what terms they would accept." Back on the Vengeance, Captain Bay received an unexpected transmission, a direct communication request from the Darrow homeworld. It seems, she told her crew with a slight smile, that the Darrow wished to talk. The Grand Hall sparkled with light reflected from 1,000 different crystalline structures. Supreme Chancellor June stood at the central podium, looking out at the assembled representatives of 27 different species. Some resembled humans, others were utterly alien, from the gas-breathing Telnor to the silicon-based fox. All had gathered on Earth for this historic moment. 1 year had passed since the Darrow surrender. The war had ended not with their extinction, but with transformation. The massive chamber, built beneath the ruins of what had once been Geneva, hummed with nervous energy as June prepared to speak. "Friends, former enemies, and new allies," June began, her voice carrying through the translator devices that allowed all present to understand. "Today marks the formal establishment of the Galactic Cooperative." In the front row sat the former Supreme Chancellor of the Darrow, now simply Representative Nex. His skin showed patterns of blue and green colors that humans now knew indicated acceptance and hope. "The Darrow believed conquest was the natural order," June continued. "Humanity proved otherwise. We fought not just for our survival, but for a different vision of galactic society." The Darrow surrender had come quickly after humans demonstrated the ability to strike their homeworld. A small fleet of Earthships had appeared in orbit around the Darrow central planet, bypassing all defenses using technology the Darrow themselves had never fully explored. The human fleet commander had sent a simple message: "We could destroy your civilization. Instead, we offer peace on these terms." Those terms now formed the foundation of the Galactic Cooperative: equal representation for all species, free exchange of knowledge and resources, mutual defense, and the liberation of all enslaved worlds. Ambassador Min, once a junior diplomat who had never left Earth, now found herself representing humanity to dozens of alien species. Today she sat beside Representative Nex, the symbolism lost on no one present. Your technology with our adaptability, she had explained to him during the tense negotiations. Together, we're stronger than either alone. At first, the Daro had struggled to understand the human concept of cooperation without domination. Their entire society had been built on hierarchy and control. Yet they learned quickly when faced with extinction. The most remarkable change had come from within the Daro Empire itself. Once freed from oppression, the subject species had not sought revenge but rather embraced the human model of integration. Each species brings unique strengths to our alliance, June said, gesturing to various delegates. The Telners' unmatched biological sciences. The Vox's mastery of quantum computing. The Daro's advanced propulsion systems. And humanity's greatest gift, our adaptability and creativity. In the years since the war ended, human innovation had accelerated dramatically. Combined with alien technology, Earth's industries had transformed. Disease, hunger, and energy scarcity were quickly becoming memories. Our cooperation extends beyond technology, June continued. Today we also established the Galactic Cultural Exchange and the Interspecies Scientific Academy. In the audience, Dr. Song beamed with pride. As head of the new academy, he would lead joint research teams comprising scientists from all member species. Already, their combined knowledge had yielded breakthroughs that neither humans nor aliens could have achieved alone. We have turned enemies into allies, fear into understanding, and destruction into creation. As June finished speaking, the assembled representatives rose in applause, or their species equivalent. Some vibrated crystals, others released scented spores, but the sentiment needed no translation. Later that evening, at the reception in the newly constructed Earth Embassy, Captain Bay found herself speaking with a young Telner diplomat. Is it true what they say about humans? The Telner asked, his translucent skin glowing faintly in the dim light. What do they say? Bay replied with a smile. That you fought the Daro not to destroy them but to change them. Bay considered this. We fought to survive. The change came afterward, when we chose mercy over vengeance. The Telner nodded slowly, his movements graceful in the lower Earth gravity. In distant sectors, new species are already hearing about humans. Do you know what they're being told? What? Respect the humans. They master destruction only to create something better from the ashes. Across the room, Min watched as President Park signed the official charter with Representative Nex. Human and Daro, working side by side where once they had sought to destroy each other. Did you ever imagine this outcome when the war began? Asked General Cho, now standing beside her. Min shook her head. Never. I thought we were fighting for survival. I never dreamed we were fighting for this. Cho's weathered face softened with rare emotion. That's why we won. The Daro fought to conquer. We fought for something better. Outside, beyond the reinforced windows, stars shone bright in the night sky. No longer distant, unreachable points of light, but homes to allies and friends. Humanity had faced extinction and responded not just with a masterclass in destruction, but with an even greater gift, the ability to forge peace from the remnants of war.